Welcome everybody. I'm Adrien Bochard, business developer for Steel Industry, a French industrial manufacturer specialized in dump drive cables and aspiration at source. And the purpose of this presentation is to show you what are the benefits for your processes of the suction at source. What are the processes that generate volatile contaminants? These kind of volatile contaminants are present in nearly every operation. It could be grinding, painting, welding, scoring, the use of chemical products, or any other manufacturing operation in the plants that will generate different kind of dusts, EV dust, small particles, gases, from 0.0001 millimeter, 1 micrometer for the smaller one, like gas particles, to 1 centimeter for really EV dust. And this kind of particles will be present mainly in your processing area, but will disperse itself in the whole plant with a risk of propagation that is really high for the smaller particles, but is existing for the heavier ones. So this kind of volatile contaminants generate the risks first for the persons, and this is what we're going to see right now. The danger of the contaminants for the persons. There is a lot of risk for the people, like respiratory illness, skin irritation, nerve damages, heavy metal contamination, including lead contamination, cancer or cardiovascular disease. And have in mind that this kind of contamination, the risk is mainly for the person operating the process, but the risk is existing for the whole personnel present in the plant. So you could be in another machine just passing through the plant, and you're exposed to the risk of contamination by the volatile components present in the air. And without any specific protection, you will see that you have a risk to be affected by this contamination. And the contamination will be higher than if the suction is made at the really point of generation. So a mask, for example, which is a protection tool, will be a good protection, but the worst protection for the people, because the contamination is already present in every port of the plant. These are the risks for the persons, but there is also some risks for the whole plants. So let's see some of them. The main risks for the plants are the fire and explosions. The smaller the particle, the higher the density and the risk to generate a fire or an explosion with a small spark that is generated in another machine, for example. With the presence of air and the contaminant, there is a high risk of fire incidents, and you don't know where the fire or the explosion could start. A small electrical sparkle for light, for machine, for a small tool can generate this risk, and this risk is really dangerous for the whole plant, the personnel, the equipment, and could be really dramatic. So with the dispersion of the fumes, the dispersion of the gas, the dispersion of the volatile contaminants, the risk is now present in every single part of the plant, and not only on the generating point. So this is the main interest of the aspiration at source, limiting the propagation of the contaminants to the whole plant. So here we have a small comparison between the two methods. With captation at source, you won't contaminate other places of the plants. You will concentrate the contaminants in a safe and dedicated location, avoiding to mix various contaminants together and generating a higher risk of explosion of fire. And the sooner you have the protection, the best is the benefits, because if you just have a protective mask, for example, the contamination is everywhere. The contamination will not be respiratory, but it will touch your skin, it will touch your hairs, touch the final products, touch other machines, and generate a risk for the machines, generate a risk for the quality of your products, and it will stop the best practice of your company. So in the aero companies working on this area, we will see what they demand from us, the suppliers. There is an obligation of REACH certification, which applies for the European Union entities, customer or clients, that must provide information about the correct use of the machines to have the best way of using your downdraft table or your aspiration or captation machine. The legislation and the directive from the huge company like Airbus, Safran, Didier Aerospace, Zodiac, this kind of major in the IO. Some of the products have limited or prohibited use for working with them to be safer for the person. And what they demand from us could change really rapidly, really quickly, to use the best practice. So the sooner we are prepared, the better for us, because we can't lose huge clients just because we don't comply with the requirements on aspiration tables. It's a really long process, and starting the sooner possible, will make it easier for the supplier to comply with the requirements. The main limitation is in Europe, and they are mostly the same in North America, are the ATEX standard and certification, which is the European Union for standards on explosive atmosphere. This certification is needed to work in an explosive atmosphere, which is a definition of some areas in the plant that are supposed to have some contaminants or exposed to contaminants. The generating points are the main of them, but every electrical wire that is present in the plant presents a risk of explosion and is a separated zone of explosive atmosphere that should be really taken carefully. So the ATEX standards cover all of the explosive dust-air mixture and prevent the bad use of the bad generation of the components of the bad generation of the contaminants, and have the current in the US with the ESAX. But there is no mutual certification between North America and Europe. So the principle is quite the same. The only difference is the norm that you have to comply. So you have to certificate yourself twice with two certification organisms. Now we should see some criteria for selecting a source capture equipment. There is a lot of parameters to be taken when selecting your equipment. The first of them will be the volume of air that you are aspiring per minute. So the main parameter that you will have to take in account is the air volume, the cubic meter per second or per hour that we will require for your process, the kind of material that you are using, if it's paint, if it's fume, if it's magnesium, copper, aluminum, which every different product will have a different reaction with the air with different risks, and analyzing it is mandatory to protect yourself from this risk. Another one would be the density of particles present in the process. So if you're grinding or painting or welding material, the aspiration that you will need will be different. The size and weight of particles is linked to the density. The higher the density, the higher the risk. So the volume of air, the velocity of the aspiration will be different to protect yourself. Of course, the quality of the filters that you are using. If you have some 2 or 3 level of filters, well, it's the best to protect yourself from the generation of these particles, these dangerous particles to the air. The noise generation, because the person that is working, so the person that is working near the machine will work on this post for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and if it's really noisy, well, there is some risk for your ears, for headache risks. So for all of these risks, the noise generation is very important. And another parameter linked to the one before is the ATEX zone or the ESAX zone in which you are present. The quality of your final products will be highly affected by the quality of your respiration. The first parameter that includes on the workplace is the safe space up to the workplace. You won't have any risk. You won't have to wear a mask if you're working with a dangerous tailor. It has to decrease the musculoskeletal problems. So these are personal measures for the person and for the quality of their jobs during the work day. So is the ergonomics of the posts, but also the dangerous tailor or the aspiration at source process will allow you to have a continuous working space and don't have to change the filter of your mask, don't change the filter of your machine quite often because it could be really automatic. There is no dust on the final products, so it's reduced the risk for the painting problems, for example. And it's really boost your productivity using the same workspace for all of your operation and not using only a mask or using a general ventilation that won't have the same effect of your product. It also improves the lifespan of your installations, protecting the other equipment from stopping because of dust contamination, protecting your other equipment from fire hazards. It will increase the product's quality and life cycle of your other equipment and the dangerous table. So you won't have to do maintenance. So you won't have to do maintenance operation as frequently as before because of the reduced contamination to dirt or to fumes. And it will protect the walls or the installation from dirt and from attack to the painting, to the metal accompanying the walls, and will let a greater value of your installation. This kind of installation is used in the wall industry sector. We will see some examples on the aeronautical field with the maintenance center using this kind of machine that you can see on the at the bottom of the page to work with huge bars of metals, to work with small parts of electronic parts for painting booths, for the wall plane, to small tables working on the pneumatics. This kind of equipment provide you with a really mobile maintenance. Like, for example, the small table that you can see at the bottom of the page is really adaptive, so you can bring it to every part of your plant, including you can transport it really easily from one side to another. and it's really improved in the rapidity, in the velocity of changing your process. So you won't have to, like in a general ventilation, to readapt at a very different process, but you have a specific table for your process, and then you can work really easily. This presentation has for purpose to present you the aspiration at source, because for some of the company working in the aeronautical industry, we are in a through of production, which means that we have more time to concentrate in projects that are not the focus on production, on we have to produce now, but that will give an improvement in your process, such as the draft table. So with some engineers or technicians that have now more time liberated to improve the layouts, to regroup manufacturing facilities, we can concentrate on some acceleration projects and see what we really want, what are the benefits of them for our processes, and maybe think about new installations of downdraft tables or aspiration at source systems. So this is quite a good time to think about these projects and to make some design, to ask for some requirements on these fields. Now that we have a little bit more time that is free for this kind of projects. If you are interested in downdraft tables, of course I will be available to answer all of your questions. You can contact us at Steven Distry, the downdraft table specialist, on mail. At our phone number too. There is no stupid question. There is only interesting one, and I will be pleased to answer you. You can visit our website, downdraft table Steven, or see some of the tables that we propose online. And do not hesitate to contact us. We will be really glad to help you. Thank you for listening to me, and have a very nice day.